cold had already claimed the edges of her vision when the ice sang beneath her weight. It was not a crack, but a low, stretched sound, like breath pulled through teeth. She froze where she stood, knees bent, spine tilted forward, the bucket handle biting into her mittened hand. Wind slid across the river's skin and erased her tracks as fast as she made them. The cold pressed in from every direction, not sharp but total, as if the air itself had weight. She shifted one boot, slow as frost forming. The ice answered with another long note. Somewhere beneath, dark water moved. She did not hurry. Hurry broke things. The old woman lowered the bucket to the ice and eased her weight back toward the bank. Her breath made a small cloud that hung and vanished. The crow watched from the black larch at the river's edge, head tilted, feathers puffed against the cold. It had been there all morning. It was often there. She did not look at it. The wind rose. Snow lifted from the river and skated across the surface, whispering. The sound of the ice deepened, then stopped. She took another step. The river opened. The surface did not shatter. It folded. A dark seam widened under her boot and the world tipped. Cold punched through her leg, then her hip, then her chest, stealing air in a single violent pull. The bucket was gone. The river swallowed sound. Her body hit the water and the cold crushed thought into a white blur. She did not scream. There was no breath for it. Her hands found the ice edge by memory, not sight. Mittens soaked and stiffened instantly, fingers losing shape inside them. She kicked once, felt nothing. The current nudged her sideways under the shelf. Light fractured above, a pale lid already smoothing over with snow. The cold pressed in, heavy and intimate. Her heart hammered, loud inside her skull. She pushed up, and the ice did not move. She slid one mitten off with her teeth, clumsy, jaw aching. Bare fingers touched ice and burned. She clawed, nails screeching. The ice held. The crow left the tree. It dropped to the ice a few paces from the hole and hopped, wings half spread, cawing once into the wind. The sound was torn away, but the motion remained. It pecked at the edge where water lapped, then flared its wings again, black against white, moving. The woman's head broke the surface for a breath so shallow it barely counted. She saw the sky, pale and far, and the crow's shadow skittering. Snow blew into her eyes. She slid back under as the ice bit her shoulder. Time slowed into pieces. Cold took her legs. Her grip weakened, skin sticking to the ice. She changed angle, pressed her forearms flat, spread weight the way she did when crossing thin places. The ice answered with a groan but did not open further. Above, the crow ran the line of the bank, hopping from ice to snow, wings beating the air. It lifted and dropped again, lifted and dropped, refusing to settle. It pecked at a scrap of hide frozen into the snow near the path and dragged it closer to the hole, then let it go. Movement, noise, insistence. The woman's chin found the edge again. She hooked one elbow, then the other. Her coat filled with water and dragged her down. The cold gnawed into bone. She could not feel her feet. She rested her cheek against the ice and let herself be still for one count, then another. The world narrowed to the sound of blood in her ears and the rasp of breath. She rolled her shoulder, inch by inch, until her chest lay flat. The ice held. She slid forward like an animal leaving a burrow, stomach scraping, arms shaking. When her hips cleared, she lay there, face pressed to ice, not moving. The crow stood a few steps away, head cocked, one eye bright. Snow gathered on her back. The wind leaned harder. She crawled, slow, until the ice thickened and the snow changed sound under her palms. Only then did she push to her knees. Water streamed from her clothes and froze as it fell. Her hands were raw and white, skin already hardening. She tucked them into her armpits and bent forward, rocking once. The path to the cabin was a low line of darker snow between trees. She followed it on hands and knees until she could stand. Each step was a negotiation. Her legs did not belong to her yet. The crow lifted and followed, silent now, flapping from branch to branch. The wind found her fully among the trees. It tore heat from her clothes and pushed snow into every seam. She walked bent, arms wrapped around herself, counting steps the way she counted days. The cabin appeared as a darker block, roof buried, door rimmed with ice. Her hands would not close on the latch. She pressed her wrists together and leaned her weight until it gave. Inside, the cold was different. Still, waiting. The stove sat dark. Ash lay grey and thin. She moved by habit. Boots off. Then on again, laces cut with a knife because fingers would not work. Coat shrugged to the floor. The stove door opened. Birch bark, then splinters. Then the last of yesterday's coal. A match flared, shook, went out. Another. The flame caught and she fed it carefully, slowly, until the stove began to tick. She stood close, turning, letting heat touch one side at a time. Steam rose from her clothes and condensed on the walls. Her hands burned and burned again as feeling returned in needles. She breathed and did not rush it. Outside, the wind found a new voice. It rose from a moan to a steady roar. Snow struck the cabin and slid away. Light faded early. She ate without tasting. A strip of dried fish, a crust of bread. Water melted in a tin cup. Her body shook as it decided what to keep. The storm arrived fully after dark. The cabin creaked. Snow hissed against the walls. The stove ate fuel faster. She rationed, closing the damper, opening it again when the fire sulked. Sleep came in pieces, shallow and bright with cold dreams. Near morning, the fire thinned to coals. She woke with her teeth clenched hard enough to ache. The cold had crept back, quiet and patient. She fed the stove with the last of the wood and watched the flame struggle, then rise. When light returned, thin and blue, she wrapped herself and went outside. The storm had smoothed the world. Drifts filled the path. The river was hidden under a skin of new snow, innocent. She did not go to it. She checked the snare by the tree line. Empty. She brushed snow from the roof, slow work, shoulders burning. The cold stayed with her, a weight she carried. The crow was there again, perched on the fence post, feathers ruffled. It watched her hands. When she moved, it moved. When she stopped, it stopped. She returned to the cabin and closed the door. Inside, routine gathered itself around her like an extra layer. She mended the torn mitten with stiff fingers. She set bark to dry by the stove. She lay down with her boots near the heat and her coat folded beneath her head. The cold did not leave. It waited. But the fire held, and the walls held, and her breathing found a steady rhythm. Outside, the crow's shadow crossed the window once, then lifted away into the pale air.